hear diarrhea full of shit, just play along with myself and I, no one else, or you, I'm so legit. Driving to work right now, blah, blah, I'm a YouTuber. This morning I got in my car, my pickup truck or whatever, my S10, and, it was like a pleasant surprise, that I forgot that I didn't have that interlock machine, on my dash, because it takes like a minute for that thing to go through all of its checks and processes. That's just when you first start it up, after it's been parked, for like overnight or whatever. If you shut it off, you do have 2 minutes to restart it if you just need to run into the gas station real quick or something to, I don't know, buy a pack of gum or whatever. And then after that, it's not, if you're longer than your 2 minutes, it's not as much of a process. It only takes like 20 seconds. But yeah, for the first one, when you first turn the key on, yeah, it takes maybe not a minute, but it just makes you think, this fucking bullshit. I suppose that's better because it used to be, there was like a chip, that you had to take somewhere and get it, I don't know. Well, I still had to get it go calibrated, but anyway, I'm done, I'm free and clear. I still have, like I said, according to the DMV, I don't have a DUI. I'm not sure what the deal is. I'm almost afraid to ask. I don't really have anybody to ask, The only people I would deal with is the DMV, and I don't want to, spark up that, what? You got a DUI? Because it's like my CDL was revoked, but I was on a regular license. My insurance did hike up, but it wasn't an SR22 insurance. Because they know that shit. And I didn't say anything, And I asked my dad, because I do have him as a resource, not to sound like that guy. I asked Dad what to do. But I did, because he's a business owner, right? So he knows that side of things, like once a year, his insurance company, even though he doesn't run a trucking company, his insurance company wants to know how his employees live their lives. So they send him a form asking what their favorite type of music is, what their hobbies are, married, single. No, they don't do that. Well, maybe they do, but no, they want to, their driving record, because how you drive is kind of an extension of it is actually, it's kind of a life hack. How you drive is kind of an extension of how you go through the world. It's not necessarily your character or your personality, but it's how you go through life, So you're going to do your job the same way you drove to your job. So if you hectic and tailgate and, get kind of, and whatever. And I used to think that as a kid, then thought, don't be ridiculous. Then Pack Attack mentioned it when he had a channel, re-examined it. And it's not 100% true, but it's alarmingly true. It's very, very accurate. So, go ahead, go. See, just now I was at this four-way stop, and this guy pulls up and he's turning right. And he's to my left, and he's turning right. So he's free and clear. He gets there first, and then I get there. I'm going straight, and there's a tractor trailer coming up on my right. Then this guy's just sitting there. And people do that a lot. Now, they might be quickly fucking with their phone or something like that, which I guess is illegal these days. They just made it. When you're driving, it needs to be hands-free, either one and done, hang up and hello for everybody. Not just CDL drivers, but I notice that a lot. People want to make sure that you stop, even though you're clearly slowing down and you're all but stopped. And like I said, even if it's one of those situations where it doesn't matter, it's you can go. You can even go out of turn if you want to. You know what I mean? You can cheat and quickly go. And I saw that, and I kind of waved at him go ahead, with a big shit-eating grin on my face. I gave him a thumbs up. Yeah, you're being an idiot. And the truck driver, I'm sure, saw me do that. and he sees me wearing an orange shirt, which a lot of people do. You see a lot of people in orange and green shirts in their cars. Usually crappier cars, you know, you'll see them at the gas station buying a 40 ounce of beer or something like that, you know, at around 4:30. Losers. But, gotta love them folks in them green and orange shirts. Then I got my, you know, safety vest and hard hat, you know, hanging from a little hook that I made, you know, and all that. So, you know, I deal with traffic or whatever, you know, construction. This is what I've noticed. Well, never mind. I won't get into that. Well, maybe. Nah, they're doing all right. Because that was the thing, like when I drove a truck, the loader operators or equipment operators would get frustrated with the truck drivers. Like, you guys need to, you know, start, you know, putting dirt over here where I told you to. I got to move this shit. You're making things twice as hard on me as I need to, or whatever. And not that I'm Joe Loader Boy or whatever. I mean, this is day 5, but it's just something that I've kind of noticed, you know what I mean? It's like I told that guy to do that, and he fucking put it there anyway, you know, and it's just the way it is. And, you know, you guys got to get, you know, stay bunched out. You guys got to start talking to each other so you're not all here at the same time, you know, and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it's like, why would it matter? Well, apparently it did for this one dude. I don't know. I don't remember. Sometimes it matters, but... and like belly dumps and stuff, you know, when you're running a fill, you know, they want you to get that stuff as tight, you know, tie it in as tight as you can to the guy in front of you who dumped, you know, and the drivers will get a little bit off, you know, and the equipment operators are like, God damn it, who just dropped that dirt? I gotta move that fucking shit, you know, and we're putting this over here where the rest of this shit is or whatever, you know, but even after 2 days of moving dirt that drivers are bringing in and dumping, I'm like, huh. No wonder heavy equipment operators are always so snarky and, you know, sarcastic with truck drivers. They don't fucking listen, you know. And just the way they talk, I remember that, you know, just, where do you want it? Okay, over here. And it's like it's this big complicated thing, like, okay. That's a big Roger 10-4 Billy Bear. Hopefully this fucking shit all comes out. You know, and I understand that and whatnot, but they just sort of have this demeanor. And I remember that, even as a truck driver, because I didn't talk like that, you know. Where do you want it? Over here. Okay. You gonna want it over there all day? Yeah, okay. Well, you won't ever hear from me again then. You know, I was one of the better ones. They actually plucked me aside and had me run a field just completely by myself. As a belly dump driver. You know, but now I'm the guy, you know, in the loader, right? So, and I don't know what the future holds, you know, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Future's so bright, gotta wear shades, you know. Best thing, that DUI was the best thing that ever happened to me, hee hee ha ha ho. So, I used to say that in the meetings, and mean it, you know what I mean, because you'd be honest about it. Anyway, I remember driving, you know, when I would leave to work, you know, I'd be looking over towards the mountains thinking, you know, and it's snowing over there in the southwest Colorado. Wonder if they're going to send me down there. I'll have to chain, you know, all that. Chain and unchain, you know, at least twice, sometimes 3 times, you know, during the route. You know, it's a pain in the ass, but not the end of the world. But anyway, I just remember because I'd, you know, stay out, I'd drive to work. It took me like 55 minutes to drive to work, and then like, you know, 45 minutes to get on the truck, as it's called, you know, load up all your shit. Sometimes I'd call Ladybug and be like, they got a load on me yet? You know, where are they sending me? Blah, 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 you know. Usually at the beginning of the week, it was a nice one, you know, up to Montana or North Dakota or something back. Because remember, it was, you know, just like local, regional type stuff. It wasn't long haul. And then the last 2 days to make sure to get you home and with your hours and whatnot, you'd play local delivered boy wading through the cesspool with all the people in their cars. I don't miss that. But yeah, going to work, you know, driving, you know, once a week and then coming home, you know, on the 6th day, you know, cranking out my 70 hours in 6 days, making money hand over fist. Now I drive to work to and fro every day. Eventually, they haven't brought anything about the company pickup truck. I'm not going to bring it up until like 6 months later, because I want to wait until I get established. I don't want to be that guy. Oh, hey, when do I get my company vehicle? Which will be nice because I won't be putting miles on it. I'll still be buying the fuel and whatnot. They'll get a little bit less fuel mileage because it's a full size, crew cab V8, but mine's an extended cab, compact 6-cylinder S10. But anyway, but yeah, I was driving to work, kind of looking over towards the mountain here, and just reminiscing about old and new, and how ironically when I would leave the house, I would actually say out loud, with my old job, be like, I know this is kind of pathetic, and I know it was, but I would say goodbye house, because I ain't got no wife or boo thing, so goodbye house. Hopefully I return and everything is, life as I know it is the same as it is now. Obviously the DUI happened and all that. Now I don't say that every morning. Goodbye, house. Hopefully things haven't changed to my return to you this evening. This empty, sad, lonely house. With the sound of no wife. Hello, darling, with dinner ready and eventually children playing. And all that. Anyway. But it just kind of, I guess that's all I got to say. I'm going to go ahead and stop talking here. I'm pretty much arrived at my destination. But about 5 more minutes. But anyway, I'm always taking stock, you know what I mean? My critics are like, oh, it sure shows, like with the working out and stuff. And every hour I get out and do my squats and stretches, body weight squats, and I'm going to start doing my push-ups and shit. So they'll see me, but that's all right, because they'll see me cranking out, I'll have an audience, so I'll bump it up, I'll start out, just okay, 20, each time 20, you just keep it simple. But then after 2 or 3 days, I'll be cranking out, okay, 60. Then by day 5, it'll be like, okay, 100, So, I'm not trying to make it sound like that, but people will see this dumbass next to his front end loader just cranking out push-ups, So, that's right, bitches. Don't be hating. But anyway, the weights, cardio will be easier, because I'll be home every day, instead of trying to do shit, in the truck, and, all this stuff. But the weights were easier in the truck. I'm going to have to actually, because I have my reps that I need to get, but I'll write down my regiment, what I need to do, and I know, there's a honeybooer out there too who are thinking, you've just been sitting around? Well, what I'll do is I'll do shit for like a week, and then I won't. Then, 3 weeks will go by, and, then I'll crank out, some reps on the weights and do the treadmill. But like I said, I picked up the weights, and I'm actually, for quote-unquote not working out, I've gotten stronger. So, and I don't want to lose that, you know what I mean? And slinging that dirt, with the shovel. But anyway. 14.5 minutes. I'm so lonely, so alone. I ain't got nobody to call my own. You've lost that loving feeling Oh, baby, that sweet loving feeling, you know it's gone, gone, gone. Open, 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 open. That fucking loving feeling. Oh, baby, baby, I miss that loving feeling. Let's bring it back. Let's make it great. I could say something like, bring me that crack. Plus, it'd be taken out of context here on Earth. No. On my planet, it's bring me that crack. But here on Earth, it's bring me that butthole. Fucking faggots. Fart in my mouth. Shit in my face, baby. Nah. Yeah, do what you do, you hopeless fucking animals.